Good morning. Tom Beal here on the morning walk, heading east. There's some beautiful sunrise effects coming up in the sky. It was raining earlier this morning. So, good news is it's not raining now. On occasion, hey, good morning. Good, yourself? On occasion, I will walk in the rain. I will admit I prefer not to. Let's just call it what it is. But I am waterproof, thankfully, and all still continues. But if it's raining super hard, hey, in the morning, I will find cover and shelter. Sometimes it's under a tree like this. Oops, like this. Stand under the tree while it's raining really hard. Still get a little wet, but not super drenched. And the good news is here in Florida, when it rains really hard like that, usually it's only for a few minutes, and then it simmers down a bit for the most part. But we're going to be walking up here on Palmetto. It may get a little loud with noise of the traffic and whatnot, but hopefully not too bad. As I speak about uncertainty. And let's talk about uncertainty. Right now, in my 49 years of life, this is, from my perception, the most uncertain time in at least my generation. If I go to my father's generation, I guess I could see he had the uncertainty of Vietnam. And even as I say that, the uncertainty around 2001, I guess, probably supersedes what we're going through now, just with the massive abruptness that September 11th that had all the uncertainty that came with it, and then the conflicts and the wars that came after September 11th. For those who had family members participating in all that, that obviously had uncertainty as well. So the levels of uncertainty are something to consider. So you heard me just piece that together in my mind, and in doing so, it brings back a very important state to consider the gratitude of, even though you may have uncertainty, even though you may have challenges going on in your life, compared to what certain people in the world are going through, it's literally a simple on the ass of a gnat. You get what I'm saying? So thinking back to my dad and his generation, getting called and drafted to go to Vietnam and all that fun stuff. And then my grandpa's generation having World War II, right? So in this generation of my 49 years of being here, like I said, September 11th was the first major uncertainty, and then the wars and things have occurred from there. But if you weren't a participant in the tragedy of September 11th, meaning I think we all have post-traumatic stress disorder from that scenario, whether we were there or had family or friends impacted. It impacted the world's psychology and psyche, including myself and most likely you, if we were alive to witness it and participate in that event 20 years ago. We have post-traumatic stress disorder. However, if we didn't lose direct family members or friends, or we didn't have um, first responders who were participating in and things like that, we can be grateful that we weren't directly impacted and have that immediate loss. Not only have the post-traumatic stress disorder and all the things that go along with it, but losing a beloved family member or friend in that manner. And then similarly with all the wars that have gone on, Iraq and Afghanistan, and all the craziness that's unfolded since then in the last 20 years. Similarly, if you weren't a participant in that, and if you hadn't lost your life or been in the life or death situation, such as the people in the Marine Corps, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force have gone through, that's another thing to be grateful for. But we're in uncertainty now that's leaving no one untouched throughout the world. And if we look at what's happening, it appears there's a lot of things that don't add up. And we're not going to touch on all that because all that really doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter if it was my dad's generation with Vietnam, doesn't matter if my grandfather's generation with World War II, or what I described now in the last 49 years of my life. There's things we can control and there's things we can't control. So even though I and many others see things that have us scratch our head saying, what? That doesn't even make any sense. It's a blatant lie, and yet it's being pushed down our throat as the truth, but it is what it is. Now, we can control our thoughts, our words, our actions, which in turn, when you do that, you can control your emotions. Some people hear that and say, no, Tom, I can't control my thoughts. And in that particular juncture of your life, you fulfill the quote of whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So if you think you can't control your thoughts, you're right. Saying that, I will say emphasize this. Our thoughts will go where our thoughts will go. It's up to us to give our attention in making the most of directing our thoughts towards what we want and only what we want. So if we catch ourselves with a thought that is going in a direction of things that we don't want, we immediately stop that and say, wait a second, that's not what I want. And we don't beat ourselves up over it. We don't go deeper into it. We just simply ask, what do I want? And pull that steering wheel to redirect us back on the path of thinking what we want for our health, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, for our key relationships, personally, professionally, and socially, and for our financial situation, our today money, tomorrow money, and contribution. What do I want? And when we are able to direct our thoughts towards what we want, all the other shit doesn't matter. Shit has always been happening that's outside of our control. The weather, the politicians, the laws, the rules, all that stuff is outside of our control. We can't control that. Rome, I'm on a live stream right now. What's up, brother? How you doing? Good. Things are good?
Yeah, man.
Oh, some Google Play stuff.
The Google Play is an app that I need to buy
Okay.
for erasing some of the stuff.
Uh-huh.
So that's for that. And this is for the products that you weren't able to
Okay. Cool.
get it
Cool.
from Amazon.
All right. So I ordered that stuff. It'll be here, like I showed you, and
Definitely.
get it to you, brother. All right,
I'm
man.
working on this. I got a response back from one of the web developers regarding their software.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting on one more response back to go with the theme of who I'm going to go with.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just waiting on one more response, and then the website pretty much be ready to go.
Cool.
Then I'm working on some other stuff. So
Awesome. We'll catch up. We'll catch up.
All right, man.
All right, bro. Have a good one. So small diversion there, which is important to discuss. That is Rome, who I met. I talked to people that I see up and down on this walk to the beach. And as you may or may not have been able to tell, Rome is homeless. And the good news about him is we've had some great discussions. And he said, right now, he's like, let me just bring you up to speed. Like, a lot of things are happening in the homeless community. He's been to Seattle. He's been to California. He's been to all these places. And he said, what's happening is they're lumping together mental illness. They're lumping together drug addiction. They're lumping together alcohol addiction and giving the term homeless. He's like, Tom, I'm not, I'm pretty mentally stable, have no mental issues. I don't have any drug or alcohol intake at all. And I'm an entrepreneur. And he said, the homeless situation for entrepreneurs doesn't really work out. No one is used to having a homeless entrepreneur. But anyhow, we had chats. So I've helped him out. We've had some good talks. I've helped him out with some things. And he's going to make a mark. He already has made a mark, by the way. Oh, and by the way, he's the homeless person I referred to a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, who has 30,000 YouTube subscribers. Now, I'm in the marketing world. I don't have 30,000 YouTube subscribers. Many of my friends who are top marketers don't have 30,000 YouTube subscribers. He does, and it's pretty damn good. So he gets some YouTube revenue from Google. Anyhow, that's a side diversion, but it's also another thing to be grateful for. And just a quick thing that I think will solidify that brief lesson is he asked me, Tom, Why? Like, why what? Like, why are you here? Why are you helping me? Why are you talking to me? Why are you helping me out with things? I said, guess what, man? I've been more times than I want to be in times where I was in a difficult spot and I needed help and help from some people that could either talk and help guide me towards a certain desired outcome that I had, or help financially, or help with some just things in life. I said, so whenever I have an opportunity to help, in the circumstances are right, I seize that opportunity. And I see, just like I see, it's kind of one of my gifts. I see the future version of people. I see where they're going. I don't see what their current circumstances is. I see where it's leading. And he has a very bright future. And my goal, and there's some talks and some things that you may see later on, is to help get some big things off the ground that can hopefully put a ripple effect in place to help a lot more people than just one. And anyhow, that said, let's continue on with uncertainty. So that leads to a whole nother level of gratitude is, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have food to eat? Do you have shelter? Do you have, I just mentioned it's raining. The reason I saw him now was probably he had to move from his normal spot because it's not covered. So he was heading over to gain some more cover before it rains again. Anyhow, so gratitude is key. But let's get back to uncertainty. All right. So first of all, I see some messages here. Max Cantor, top of the morning to you. Karen, good morning from Hamburg, Pennsylvania. Good morning, Karen. Michael Monsieur, grateful for you and your share, Tom. Thank you. Well, I'm glad it's helpful. So here we continue on with uncertainty. We've talked about this. So the thing to circle back to is your gratitude. What am I grateful for? And also that statement we'll discuss briefly is, if we all threw our problems into a big pile and the problems were, hey, good morning, a shoe, and we see that all the problems, and we see all the problems people have, my problems, your problems, everybody's problems, we look at all those other problems and be like, holy crap, I don't want that. I'll take my shoe back, right? So just recognizing that even though you have challenges, you have difficulties, you have uncertainty, when and if you were able to peer and peek behind the scenes and see what everyone else is going through, you say, screw that, I'll keep my problem. Why? Because you know how to handle your problem. You don't know how to handle my problem. And I don't know how to handle your problem. We have a lot of great things we're good at, and we have some things we're not so great at. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. So anyhow, coming back to this, then what I would recommend is realizing there has always been uncertainty. Humans, myself, you, all of us, first of all, make the fatal flaw, or not a fatal flaw, but I feel it does steal a lot of our life, and it puts off a lot of the things that we would want to do to later, which means it never happens, is we believe we're entitled to a tomorrow. We believe we're entitled to a next week. We believe we're entitled to a next month. We believe we're entitled to a next year. We believe we're entitled to a next decade. When the reality is, none of us have the certainty of finishing this day. That's just point blank, the truth. If you think you're owed a tomorrow, you're fooling yourself. So what does that mean? That means living fully today and going for what you know is yours to do today without putting it off for tomorrow, because tomorrow never comes. There's 150,000 people that didn't wake up today that were here yesterday. 150,000, that's huge. Think of the stadiums that hold like 60, 70, 80,000 people. We're talking 2 to 3 stadium fulls of people that were here yesterday in the world that aren't here today. Now, many of them may have known, but guess what? There's a lot of them that didn't know yesterday was the last day. So we as humans make that false assumption that we're owed the remainder of today, that we're owed a tomorrow. We're not. We have always had the uncertainty of making it through the day and into tomorrow. So if you can step back and just embrace that and say, hey, you know what? I've worked it out so far, so far so good. Apparently, I may be a little smarter than I thought because I'm still here. And as I'm reflecting on that statement, I'm going back in my mind to my life. And it's a damn miracle I'm still here. I don't know about you. Holy crap, have I had some close calls? Have I had some divine guidance along the way? You know, my guardian angels have been on overtime, keeping me alive. So I don't know about you. Now keep in mind, I'm a Marine. I'm a bit crazy. So my life and my experiences may be not. Uh, it's definitely worth several movies. If that was something down the road, it would definitely be entertaining to say the least. But it's a miracle I'm still here. Is it a miracle you're still here? Absolutely. Reflect on your life. So we're still here. So we must be doing something right now. The key is to make the most of today, make the most of this week, to stop putting stuff off, to stop being scared, and to step into what is mine to do. I feel God places it on our heart to know what's ours to do. And I've had that feeling. I'm sure you've had that feeling where you know it's yours to do, but you're trying to fight it and you're pushing away from it. And you're trying to come up with excuses and procrastinate and not do what you know is yours to do. Well, we're here to be joyous creators. So get out there and joyously create. Don't get caught up in all this bullshit. Don't get caught up in all the distractions. Don't get caught up in all the uncertainty. Screw uncertainty. You've lived every single day of your life, whether you've known it or not, with 100% uncertainty. We fool ourselves and give us the comfort of certainty, and it allows us to have at least some stabilization to where, I'm taking the next step. I know the earth is going to be there, right? So I'm consistent. I'm growing in consistency in my uncertainty, knowing that, okay, even though there's a lot of uncertainty out there, when I take this next step, there's land that's not going to disappear, right? So we have that certainty while in uncertainty that gives us the ability to explore. And that's what it's all about, exploring. So all of this really circles back to there's things we can control and there's things that we can't control. And there's only three things that I feel we can control: our thoughts, our words, our actions. And in doing so, I would highly consider you put blinders on to not focus on all of the, the craziness that's going on in the media. There is a lot of uncertainty. And at this particular juncture, even though it's not the physical wars, it's not the 9/11 attack that I mentioned a little bit earlier, this level of uncertainty has a whole different twist to it because it's worldwide. Economies are being manipulated and shut down at levels that are beyond the normal manipulation and shutting down. Just so you know, it has always been manipulated. Every day I've been born, every day my parents were born and grandparents were born, it's been a 100% manipulation. Yet it was more veiled, more hidden. Now it's clearly in our face manipulation and control of us, which brings us to a different level of uncertainty that's happening in the world. And guess what? None of us really know the twists and turns and the plots that's in motion and the plot twists that are going to be ahead of us. But what we do know is we can control our thoughts, our words, and our actions. We are joyous creators. And I would have you consider living your life in joy, with adventure, with passion as you explore and figure out what's yours to do. And do it. And what's yours not to do is to get caught up in that downward spiral of bullshit that puts shackles on you and stifles you and has you doing nothing except putting off all the things that are yours to do because you got fear building up inside of you so strongly that there's people walking around that are fearful of the fucking air. They're fearful to go outside and breathe the goddamn air. It's fucking hilarious, but it's fucking sad at the same time. You got so much fear, you're scared of the goddamn air. And I say, goddamn, this is the blessed air. Holy crap, you're afraid to breathe? Get the hell out of here. Come on now. Snap out of that bullshit. You're obviously not going to be doing all that you know is yours to do if you're scared to fucking breathe. Anyhow, people are putting so many shackles on themselves that they're not exploring. They're not walking with adventure. They're walking in fear, and that's the saddest thing to witness. I'm not picking on them. Hey, I've been fearful in my life, and have not done a lot of the things that I knew were mine to do. But until you can break those shackles, it goes back to that quote, morning. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. And if people are afraid to breathe and afraid to shake hands, afraid to touch things, it's going to be a hell of a journey for them. I feel sad for them. I hope they can break out of that shit. But it's a program that they bought into, and that's their journey. So hopefully they can joyously create whatever they want in that fear. But for my journey, I found fear doesn't really produce the greatest thinking, doesn't really produce the greatest results, really doesn't produce the greatest inspiration, motivation. So I hope, and my wish is, they can recognize it's all bullshit, it's all manipulation, it's all control. But I see it. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. That's okay. I'm going to flip this around because it's too beautiful not to. How do I do this? All right, so this park is getting redone. So they tore it all up. They added on some land to the where it used to be water. They added some land, and this is the drawbridge. I'm going over here shortly, crossing over the intracoastal. But it was too beautiful to not stop. Let's see here. Flip it back. All right. So we're continuing with the water. So look, it's always been uncertain. This is making it clear that the uncertainty is real, that we can't put off things to tomorrow, to next week, to next month, to next year. We must consider gaining clarity on what's ours to do and not get bogged down by any fear, any distractions, any worry, any concerns. And just say, you know what, I don't know where this is going to lead, but this is what I feel is mine to do. I'm going to take that step. I'm going to take the next step. And one step at a time, doing what you feel is yours to do, you'll watch how people come across your path. You'll watch how opportunities arise. You'll watch how, man, I'm glad I took that step. I'm glad I wasn't shackled by that fear. I'm glad I didn't buy into all the nonsense, which put me down a rabbit hole. So, ooh, that's a big boat coming here. Is going to have to open up the drawbridge to get through. That house just got built. It's still getting the process. It's being finished up. It's amazing. Absolutely huge. And the beach coming up. All right, so what's the purpose of this video? The purpose is to inspire you. The purpose is to motivate you. The purpose is to remind you that you made it this far in uncertainty, whether you knew it, whether you didn't know it. Every day has unfolded exactly the way it needed to unfold to bring you to this point in time in your life. And now that you're here, and there's massive uncertainty in the world, my hope is that you can have the discipline, put your blinders on to not let that stuff that's happening deter you from circling back to doing what's yours to do for you, your family, your loved ones, your prospects, your clients, right here, right now, today. Don't put it off. Don't delay. Gain that clarity and get to work doing it. And, what's going to happen? Who the hell knows what's going to happen? But I know what's going to happen for me. I'm going to be taking one step at a time, one day at a time, assessing the new information, assessing the new landscape, assessing the new things that unfold, the new plot twists that unfold. And I guess that brings me back to the same thing that I did in boot camp. Now, I was in Marine Corps boot camp, Parris Island, South Carolina, January to April 2nd of 1993, I graduated. Morning. As the honor man out of my platoon, 3028, Charlie Battery, Parris Island, South Carolina. And the thing about boot camp is you don't know what the hell is going to go on every day that you wake up. You have no idea of what is waiting for you, what's to come. All you do is give your best. That's it. What they tell you to do, you do it as fast and hard as you possibly can, and you do your best. And in doing the best, all you know is morning, that it is going to suck. And they're going to tell you that you suck, and that everything you do sucks. And you're a piece of trash, and you're no good. And for some people, that was a very hard thing. And it was hard for me in the very beginning. Wait a minute, what are you talking about? That's awesome. You can't talk back. You're thinking that, and they're still telling you that sucks, and they're throwing it around, and they're breaking you down. And that's what I would suggest you do here in this boot camp. To not let all that shit, that psychological shit, break you down and have you in fear, but transition to say, hey, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen today, but I'm excited to see how the day unfolds. Who knows what that's going to look like, but I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to go and do it. What I feel is mine to do, give it my all, and go from there. And that's it. Each and every day, who knows where it's going to lead. We're thankful that we woke up. We got clear on what's ours to do first thing right away, and then we just continue to do it. So here we go. Let's see. Kevin Pulse says, morning, Tom. Sorry we missed each other the other day. Yep, we'll catch up sometime soon. Matt, mindset is powerful, whether positive or negative. Absolutely. Karen, just do it whether you think you can or think you can't. You're right. Yep, go. Make today great. Absolutely. And that's a pretty great summary right there. Like, look, we have self-regulators. If the thought comes to you, it goes back to that Napoleon Hill quote from Think and Grow Rich. Whether you, well, let me think of what that one quote is. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. Obviously, that's men or women. That was the terminology they used back in the early 1900s, like that. So, if you can conceive the idea, believe in it, you can achieve it with the conscious choice and then the follow through and the determination, the discipline, one step at a time. So, if your mind is self regulating, you wouldn't be able to conceive the idea if it weren't a possibility for you. Kind of how cars that have regulators, I'm passing by some cars that have regulators on them can't go over a certain speed that it's set at. No matter how much the throttle's pushed, it won't go over that. Same with our mind. At every moment, we are fulfilling that Napoleon Hill quote, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, he can achieve. But what happens is people conceive the idea, they don't believe they can do it, which fulfills that quote that Karen brought up there, that I mentioned earlier, is whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right, from Henry Ford. So if you conceive the idea but think you can't do it, sadly, you're right. You can do it if you believed in it because you were able to conceive the idea. Your mind allowed you to, with the regulators of who you are and what your belief in yourself is, you were able to conceive that idea, but with a lack of belief, you won't be able to achieve it. Saying, man, that's a stretch. I don't know if I'm able to do that, but I was able to conceive the idea. Let me work on that. Am I able to believe it enough as being real and being real for me? So we're getting close to the beach, and at the beach, that's where this conversation ends. I wanted to have a chat from starting the walk to the beach, and we're almost there. Breaking a few rules. Every once in a while, you break some rules. All right, getting to the beach. So this is meant to inspire you. This is meant to motivate you. This is meant to assure you what you've been doing has been done through uncertainty your whole life. And you probably, as most humans do, made the false assumption that you were guaranteed each and every one of the days that you had up to this point in time. We've discussed no one has a guarantee. Morning to finish today. to have a tomorrow, to have a next week, to have a next month, to have a next year, a next decade. Some of us are blessed and fortunate to have today. 150,000 people yesterday didn't get to today. You did. I did. Congratulations. What are you going to do with this day? That's the question. So stop making that false assumption. Stop believing everything you see in the media, everything you hear in the world. Go inside. Start talking to your heart. Start talking to God. Start recognizing who you are and what you're truly capable of. Start recognizing what's mine to do today. What can I do to make myself the healthiest version of myself? Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. What can I do to solidify key relationships to me? What can I do to improve my financial situation today? What can I do to be the joyous creator? Can I walk through this uncertainty with joy, with adventure, with passion as I explore, as I boldly take steps towards doing what I know is mine to do? The answer is yes, if you're willing to make the choice. So there you have it. That was the walk to the beach. Hope it was helpful for you. Name's Tom Beal. Go to maketodaygreat.com for more insights on my podcast there. Matt says, Karen says, you do inspire. Thank you. Appreciate that. Matt says, we also come across obstacles which we need to push through to achieve our goals. Challenges in life will always exist. 100%. Part of this journey is chaos. Think of playing Mario Brothers and how difficult it was the first time you played it. And then finally you got to the end of level 1. Guess what? There's a level 2. Why? Because you get bored to death winning and winning and winning at level 1 over and over and over again. And it would bore you and you'd stop. Life is a formidable opponent and will continually upgrade you to new challenges. There's the statement that says, none of us are given any challenges that we can't handle. Now, I know many times I've looked at the sky and said, well, I don't know about that. I don't think I can handle this one. But it's true. We're only given the challenges that we can handle. That's it at a new level. Guess what? When you go to level 2 in Mario Brothers, it's a little more difficult. It takes you a while to figure it out. Same thing that got you through level 1 won't get you through level 2. You got to up level yourself. Same thing in life. As you continually progress, there's going to be new challenges. They're going to be harder. They're going to be bigger. They're going to be seemingly overwhelming at times. Morning. But you can handle it. You always have. You always will. A lot of them you won't know how. That's okay. That's called life. I don't know about this one. This one's tough. But for me, I pass a lot of that on to God. God, I didn't see this one coming. Thankfully, I'm going to pass this one to you. Help me out with this one. I can't figure it out. I know you can. But I trust you. I trust what you put on my heart. Trust what you put on my heart to think, say, and do. And I do my best to follow what you put on my heart to do. So one step, one day at a time, let's get this done. Let's have a blast amidst the chaos, amidst the uncertainty, amidst the difficulties, amidst the challenges. You can still have fun. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to smile. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to laugh at the ridiculousness of the challenges. Holy crap, where did this one come from? Oh man, this is a good one. This is perplexing. Let's figure it out. All right. Make today great. Go to maketodaygreat.com for more. Appreciate you. Hopefully this is helpful. Let's keep the momentum going with joy, adventure, passion as we continually explore. Rock the day. I'll talk to you soon. MakeTodayGreat.com. Bye for now.